Well, a year ago, the Washington Post spoke for pretty much the entire press corps, including us, by the way, when it adopted a new slogan, "Democracy dies in darkness." And it does. Well, apparently the president, who doesn't like the Washington Post, agrees with the slogan. So yesterday he called for the declassification of documents related to the Russia investigation. That would include the Carter Page FISA warrant application. President Trump said this about it today.
I want total transparency. This is a witch hunt. Republicans are seeing it. The Democrats know it's a witch hunt, too, but they don't want to admit it because that's not good politics for them. The things that have been found over the last couple of weeks about text messages back and forth are a disgrace to our nation. We should open it up for people to see.
So if Obama had said that, or George W. Bush for that matter, pretty much everyone would nod in agreement. Of course, sunlight is the disinfectant that we all want. But things have changed, and the new organizing principle of the left is that everything Trump does is bad, so the press are now racing to condemn transparency as a threat to the republic.
This president shatters so many norms that it's sometimes hard for people to understand when he does something that's truly damaging. This is one of those times.
The president declassifying material, despite the fact that he was begged by the intelligence community not to do that. Any commander-in-chief who did care would listen to all of his intel agents.
Can anyone stop President Trump from doing this? I mean, he is arbitrarily releasing part of a FISA warrant. You can't say that this isn't politically motivated because it doesn't make sense.
Journalists staying up late, making sure you don't get more information about what your government is doing. Never thought I'd live to see that. And then former CIA Director John Brennan went even further. He's now a cable news yapper, by the way. He said that democracy is actually defined by FBI agents refusing to obey the elected president for whom they work. Watch.
If Mr. Trump and the White House does not relent, well, then I think they have some decisions to make, whether or not they're going to just not follow that direction and be fired or to resign. But if they really believe that this is going to have serious impact on our national security, law enforcement, and judicial process, they have an obligation, since they took an oath of office to the Constitution of the United States, not to Mr. Trump, to uphold their responsibilities and their agency and department's authorities.
Those of us who laughed at the deep state are reconsidering. John Summers is a former communications director for Senator Harry Reid of Nevada, and he joins us tonight. Thanks a lot, John, for coming.
You bet.
So the only real argument, I think, against this is that details will be released that will jeopardize intelligence gathering and the lives of the agents who gathered it. If this information is released, and it looks like it will be, and we find that nothing that is unredacted threatens the secrecy or the methods of the agencies, will the people who complain about it today do the right thing and resign from their jobs in disgrace and shame and admit, look, I'm just a political hack carrying water for the Democratic Party?
Well, I think for all the talk about transparency, that's not what we're seeing here. We've got the president who's cherry picking the information that would then be released. So this isn't transparency. This is the president getting involved in this investigation and basically trying to change the news cycle. You know, I don't think it's a coincidence that the next business day after his former campaign chair pleads guilty, all of a sudden he's out there trying to do something to change the news cycle. But if he was truly wanting transparency, then we would be seeing more than just these cherry-picked documents that he wants to get out there.
I would say two things. One, I have no idea why the timing came as it did, but White Houses always do that, so that would not surprise me one bit. But I don't understand why I, as a citizen, not a cable news anchor, but just like a guy who votes and pays taxes, why I shouldn't know why the U.S. government was spying on American citizens. That's a big deal. And I still don't know why they did it. What was the justification? Why shouldn't I know that?
Well, what we're talking about here is the declassification of documents that contain sensitive information.
Do they?
About not only individuals, but also about the tactics that are used for going after spies and going after terrorists.
Do we think that?
So you've got a president who is worried about saving his own butt, and the way he wants to do that.
But I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about me and the other 325 million people who live here. We know that our government spied on American citizens. One administration spied on a rival presidential campaign. Maybe they had good reason to do that, but shouldn't they assure us that they did, that it wasn't political? Why
Actually, you're incorrect. That's surveillance. There was no surveillance of the Trump campaign. Yes, there was not surveillance of the Trump campaign because Carter Page had already left the campaign by the time.
But hold on. He was involved with the campaign. That's the whole pretext for this Russia investigation is Carter Page was a Russian agent working for Trump.
But he left the campaign by the time the surveillance started. And the surveillance was directly related to him, not the campaign.
They were spying on people he was in contact with, including people on the campaign. But the point is they were spying on Americans. And why shouldn't the rest of us be assured that they had good reason to do that? Or else why would we have any faith at all in our intel agencies or the DOJ or our government?
Because when you're talking about releasing select documents, just cherry-pick documents that the president wants you to see, if you're not able to see them in totality, though, you don't get the full picture.
But that is the totality.
So you're not getting what you're saying you want.
Not at all. The FISA application is the totality. It's what went to the judges in order to get permission to spy on Americans. What else? I mean, what would they be leaving out?
And it went to 4 different applications.
I'm sure they're all Republicans. I don't care. This is not a partisan thing. I just want to know why my government's spying on Americans. And I want to know why the left isn't mad about it, because it's terrifying.
We're talking about a guy who had been courted by the Russians as early as 2013.
Well, let's see. Then what are you afraid of? Why shouldn't we know more?
I'm not afraid of anything.
Oh, good. Then let's find out.
My biggest concern is that, in this changing of the precedent by the president to save his own butt, he's actually putting our country at risk, because
okay, so we're going to get these documents. All right,
he's lifting up the curtain for terrorists and spies to see how we actually go after them.
Okay, we'll find out what's in there, and we'll see. And if ISIS cheers, then I will stand corrected. John, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.